You won't believe some of these mythical creatures from the legends of King Arthur. The questing beast, a bizarre chimera-like creature that makes a noise resembling 30 yelping dogs. The monstrous cat, Cath Palug. The mysterious fae, and the Emerald Green Knight. Today we're going to explore and discover these amazing beings, so sit back and relax as we talk about the mythical creatures from Arthurian legend here on Wild Mythology. The questing beast was a bizarre chimera-like creature that had an odd origin story. According to legend, the beast was the offspring of a demon and a human princess who was in love with her brother. The princess made a deal with the demon, agreeing that she would sleep with it in return for the demon making her brother, the prince, fall in love with her. However, the demon had made a false promise and instead impregnated the princess and tricked her into accusing her brother of rape. In response, the king sentenced the prince to death and unleashed a pack of hungry dogs upon him. But before the prince was torn apart by the dogs, he cursed the princess by prophesizing that her baby would be an abomination. When the princess gave birth, her child was a creature with the head and neck of a serpent, the body of a leopard, the backside and tail of a lion, and the feet of a hart. And instead of a cry coming from its mouth, the beast made a sound that came from its stomach that sounded like the yelping of a pack of dogs. In Arthurian legend, the questing beast first appeared in front of King Arthur after he unknowingly slept and impregnated his half-sister. After resting against a tree, Arthur woke up from a dream, only to find the beast right in front of him sipping from a stream. Suddenly, though, it disappeared as King Pellinore arrived. Pellinore introduced himself to Arthur and explained that his family had been hunting the questing beasts for generations. When Arthur asked Pellinore to give up his quest and allow him to hunt the beasts instead, Pellinore denied Arthur, explaining that only his bloodline could kill the creature. Pellinore would then steal Arthur's horse and continue his hunt. Unfortunately, King Pellinore later gets himself killed, and the quest moves on to Sir Palamedes, who is hunting the beast because it killed his brothers. Sadly, Palamedes spends years chasing the beast until he finally converts to Christianity, which allows him to slay the creature in a lake with the help of Sir Percival and Sir Galahad. Cath Palug is a monstrous cat that was the offspring of Henwen, the great white sow, although he is also sometimes said to be the offspring of a fae who was raped by a hobgoblin. After giving birth, the sow's owner took the kitten and cast it into the sea. After many days, the kitten ended up on the island of Anglesey, a few miles north of Wales. On the island, the kitten was adopted by the sons of Palug, who didn't realize that they were adopting a monster. Soon after, Cath Palug grew to enormous size and ate many of the islanders, including those who adopted him. When the number of those devoured reached 180, one of the knights of the Round Table was sent to slay the beastly cat. According to Welsh legend, the knight that faced off against Cath Palug was Sir Kay, the foster brother of King Arthur, who unfortunately wasn't able to do anything against the cat. Another legend suggests that after devouring Sir Kay, the monstrous cat challenged King Arthur. In some versions of the legendary fight, King Arthur beheads the monstrous cat, but in others, Cath Palug is triumphant over Arthur and takes his throne, ruling England from the shadows. The Fae are one of the greatest supernatural elements of the Arthurian legends. Creatures that are of the physical world, but also part of the mystical otherworld. Fae or fairies are generally described as human in appearance and having magical powers, one of which allows them to transform their bodies ranging from quite tiny to the size of a human. Their behavior is usually described as tricky, but sometimes also malicious. They can perform anywhere from harmful pranks to kidnapping and murder. It's important to note that Fae are involved in many cultural legends, and that the Fae of the medieval stories contain the footprints of an older Celtic tradition. The most famous Fae in Arthurian legend is Morgan le Fay, who in early Arthur legend was the Fey Queen of Avalon. A dying King Arthur would be taken to the island of Avalon to be healed by Morgan and her sisters. In later Arthurian legend, Morgan Le Fay is the human half-sister of Arthur, who is also a sorceress that's been trained by the wizard Merlin. The Green Knight is a supernatural entity from the Arthurian chivalric romance Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. In the romance, the Green Knight appears before King Arthur's court on New Year's Eve, riding on top of a green horse. He is described as a green-skinned giant of a man, dressed in green clothes, holding holly in one hand and a green steel axe in the other. King Arthur welcomes the Green Knight and asks if he has come to battle. But the Green Knight denies that and tells King Arthur that he has come to play a friendly game. The Green Knight tells the court that he will allow any brave man to strike him with his own axe, on the condition that he will make the exact strike back in a year's time. To sweeten the deal, the Green Knight tells the court that the man who plays his game shall also keep his green steel axe. As King Arthur prepared to accept the challenge, his nephew Sir Gawain asked his uncle for the honor instead. So Sir Gawain picked up the green axe and beheaded the Green Knight. But Sir Gawain became surprised when the Green Knight picked up his head and left while reminding Sir Gawain that he would see him in 1 year. A year later, Sir Gawain stayed at a castle before he went to meet with the Green Knight. There, the castle lord's wife tried to seduce him 3 times, but he refused. Though Sir Gawain did accept a magical sash from her, a sash that would protect its wearer from any injury. When Sir Gawain met with the Green Knight and kneeled to have his head cut off, the Green Knight only left a nick of a cut in Gawain's neck. We find out that the Green Knight was created by Morgan Le Fay when she transformed a castle lord named Bertilic into the mysterious Green Knight. The same castle lord that Sir Gawain just stayed with. Morgan had sent the green entity to test King Arthur and his knights. The Green Knight then explained that he would spare Sir Gawain's life because he was a good man that kept his word and denied the seductive advances of his wife. After learning that this was all a test, the two parted on good terms, and Sir Gawain returned to the Round Table. The White Stag, or White Hart, is an elusive and symbolic creature in the Arthurian legends. It's said to be an uncatchable creature that represents humanity's need for adventures, findings, and questions answered through quests. The White Stag is also a signal for the Knights of the Round Table to commence a new noble quest. In other legends, white stags are messengers from Fae or higher beings. Those who encounter them are said to have a great impact on the future of kingdoms. The Lady of a Lake is another famous Fae-like entity that has many stories from different sources in the Arthurian legends. She usually inhabits an otherworldly realm, which the entrance to is her lake, thought to be located somewhere in Great Britain. In one legend, she raises Sir Lancelot and helps him on his many journeys. She is also sometimes the student and lover of the sorcerer Merlin before she betrays and kills him. While in other legends, she's said to seal Merlin away because he won't stop his advances towards her. In the Morte d'Arthur, the Lady of the Lake is the one who presents King Arthur with the sword Excalibur in return for a later favor. Unfortunately, when she goes to claim that favor, she is killed by one of Arthur's knights. This saddens Arthur, and he banishes the knight and sends another to kill him. In another version, the Lady of the Lake is named Nimue, and becomes King Arthur's sorceress after she seals Merlin away. She advises Arthur and even saves him from his half-sister Morgan Le Fay. After King Arthur's death, Nimue returns to her lake and accepts the return of Excalibur when one of Arthur's knights throws it back into the lake. And that's all we have for today, folks. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and leaving a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you stay updated on all our future videos. Alrighty, folks, see you next time on Wild Mythology.